All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's Talladega Superspeedway special on NASCAR 08 Chase Race number 4 of 10 on the season as we try to get Casey Kane his first career Nextel Cup Series title. And we come in as the points leader following a 27th place run in Kansas in our race 2 days ago. Now, in that Kansas race, it was pretty much me falling behind on pit strategy, which laid into our hands to end up with a 27th place run because I did lead the most laps. Granted, I probably wouldn't have led as many laps in the race as I did had I not been salvaged at least something out of the day. The good news is there was only one chase driver that had a top 10 finish in that race, so we didn't really lose a lot of points. Tony Stewart's up to second in the standings, as you see up on the top of our screen, with the points scrolling for those chase drivers, 152 points ahead. David Gilliland is up to third in points. What a season he is having up to this side of things as well. But 7 races to go, 500 miles tonight, so I'm not going to waste too much more time. Let's get into this. Wade the Republic, Mark DeMars, Earl Arnold Jr. Who else was in here? I think that's it so far. For those who have joined the chat before the start of the race, this is not NASCAR 25. No, this is NASCAR 08. We've got a couple months till NASCAR 25 comes out. All right, well, green flag's in the air. Oh, hang on. I know what happened. The game capture card froze on me again. This happened to me when I did the Dover race. All right, I just started the race, so you guys haven't missed anything. Now I got to get the point standings and everything ready to go. It's because the monitor on my laptop went black for longer than a couple minutes, and I think that's why the game capture card froze, because I wasn't messing with anything on my laptop in the meantime. There we go. We're getting there. There we go. All right, now we'll get the UAW Ford 500 underway. I'm well aware I'm on the apron.
You're looking good. Remember what we talked about.
Oh boy, that was a dangerous idea. Try to squeeze up in line and caught by dead last.
Clear on either side.
Picking up as many spots as I did on the initial start, I'll take up to 25th. Remember when he said don't get involved in the big one? I almost started the big one.
Going outside.
No out of bounds for me. Yeah, I gotta turn the game audio down. See, that's why you guys are here in the chat. You can help me out along the way. Make sure everything's running smoothly. Dang it. I did not want to be on the outside, especially 3 wide now. I was hoping I'd get down to the bottom in front of Dale Jarrett. Couldn't do that. J.J. Haley gets by, so now we're back another position to 26. And David Gilliland's leading. He comes in third in points. He's leading laps in the early going to the race. Real life in 2007, he actually qualified. Was it on the pole for this race? I know he started on the front row in the Daytona 500 that year. So maybe this could be a good race for him in the Robert Yates Ford. Now there's no game audio? There should be some. I didn't mute it completely. I just turned it down. Aaron's $4.99. Okay, so it was a spring Dega race he was on the pole for. Tuttlebug5, thanks for tuning in. And a tie with Jeff Gordon. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. That off the top of my head, at least. That happened once this year. What race was it that there was a tie for the pole? Or at least to the 1,000th of a second. Was it one of the Briscoe poles that he had? I swear that's happened recently. Can't wait for Sunday. Yeah, you'll be at the Brickyard 400. Should be a fun time for you. Street race at San Diego. Yep. Yeah, we didn't stream yesterday, so I guess we haven't really talked about that on the channel. By the way, this is our first super speedway race with the car tomorrow. The first Dega race we ran earlier this season was with the Gen 4. So this is all new, and for it to be a chase race is going to be very interesting. We've had nothing but chase drivers lead already. David Gillen's led a lap. Jeff Gordon's led a lap. And Bobby Labonte, I don't know if he led the last lap or not. He was out in front down the back straightaway. Now David Gillen's in the lead again. Kyle Lance, thanks for tuning in. It took us over 100 laps to get to the lead in the Pepsi 400 at Daytona, but we were still able to win that race. Hopefully it doesn't take as long to get to the lead in this 500-mile race at Talladega. But again, with the car tomorrow on the super speedway side of things for the first time in this game, I really don't know what kind of speed we're going to have as far as race winning capability goes. Ethan, thanks for tuning in. Am I going to go to Indy? No, I'm not going to be at Indy this week. Oh boy. Yeah, about 4 wide there for a brief moment. I tried to jam myself in there. They're checking up. Oh my goodness. Truex clipped the apron. And that slowed him up big time. And I didn't have a chance to lift, but it worked out for us. Up to 21st. Passing was really hard at Daytona in the Pepsi 400 that we ran a couple weeks ago. Yeah, RIP to Ozzy Osbourne for sure. I'll probably talk about that a little bit more later on in the stream. Just trying to get the race underway for right now. Big in the pop culture world, but for me as a metalhead, definitely you can feel the emptiness, that's for sure. Had a nice run down the back straightaway, taking advantage of it, making as many passes as we can. Got 2 of them, maybe 3. I don't know if we're going to get past Dale Jr. or not. Nope, not quite. Ricky Rudd's to our outside. I got my 3 cars in 1 turn, though. I'll take that. Up to 18th. Kyle Busch is out in front now. He's the only non-chaser to have more than 1 win. He was the first driver out of the chase when we began things a few races ago. He had an engine failure, in fact, at Kansas, I believe it was, in the last race. Or no, he had a poor finish there, and then he had a engine failure the race before that at Dover is what it was. And he since dropped back to about 16th in points. Dale Campbell, thanks for tuning in. Playing Chase for the Cup 2005. Oh boy. I thought we were going to be 4 wide in the trioval for a quick moment. There were 3 wide. The problem is I don't have anybody to draft off of. They did, and they were able to pull past. And that was one thing that I noted and tried to remember when I was making passes at Daytona. It was very hard for me to make passes if there wasn't anybody else that I was able to draft off of when I pulled out of line. Like right here, this is going to be tough on Dale Jr. Try to side draft him a little bit. Now I'm focused on just trying not to lose any more spots. Ricky Rudd, 88, looking low, looking high. Block him, sliding line behind Dale Jr. We're kind of singled out in the middle of the pack here, so the passing's gotten a little harder the last lap and a half or so for us. Try to get the Dale Jr.'s back bumper, get him on bump trapped, and maybe he can make a run and we can follow him. Oh, there's his push right into the trioval. He's going to be able to get underneath the Sterling Marlin. Try to give him another push, see if he gets underneath Joe Nemechek. Nope. It's all right. Got by 1 car. Bam Hall, thanks for tuning in also. Doing pretty good. I've been like really sluggish today. From the time I woke up this morning, I've been tired and kind of a brain fog. Haven't been able to get out of it. It's the middle of the work week. It just little tired today. Ideally, kind of wish this wasn't a 500-mile race tonight, but you know what? We're here. We're going to complete all the laps, hopefully, as long as we don't DNF, and try to hang on to this points lead. Maybe build it. Did you hear, Gaming? Thanks for tuning in. Ooh, big block by Nemechek. I thought Dale had enough of a run. He was going to be able to make a pass there. Clint Boyer ended up passing us back on the outside because of that checkup. Nowhere to go for the moment other than to just stay behind Dale Jr. to keep things safe there. He's getting a pull off of Matt Kenseth in front of him. Jr. pulling us just a little bit. Trying to stay in the wake of his draft as much as I can. He's getting a little too far out ahead of us. Should be able to get by Boyer, though. John Wood pulling to the bottom of the track, but then there was a checkup in front of us getting into the corner. Now we'll check high to kind of clear Boyer and then cut back down to the bottom in front of Marlin. Back to the outside to try to get the draft off the 21 of John Wood. Scott Riggs, our teammate out in front. There's been so many lead changes in the early 10 laps of this race. I couldn't tell you how many we've had exactly, but we've had quite a few. And pass on Wood on the outside and got to the bottom before we got into turn 1. That worked out perfectly. Honestly, 12 laps to get up to 15th already. I'll take that. I feel like I'm making more passes already now than what I was for the most part at Daytona. See, unlike Kansas, where there wasn't many chase drivers up at the front, there have been nothing but chase drivers towards the front of the pack so far today. Justin Besaw, thanks for tuning in. It's definitely going to make for a very interesting night. We do have 5 sets of tires. We'll probably have to pit for 4 fresh Goodyears every stop. We did at Daytona. So we might be using all 5 sets at some point throughout the race. I didn't get as much sleep as I probably should have last night either. That had a lot to do with it. I didn't get home from work yesterday until 8:15. It was my grandpa's birthday, so I was over there for a few hours. Over there probably a little longer than what I wanted to be. But just because I had to work today, that's probably why I'm so tired. Honestly. Got home in just enough time to eat, take a shower, and go to bed. Didn't really get to unwind from yesterday at all. Obviously, we're definitely on pace to breaking into the top 10 before the end of lap 20. I'm trying to remember back from the first Dega race, which was a long time ago when we ran that race on the channel. But I want to say we probably went around 35 laps on a full tank of fuel. A run after Tony Stewart in the tri-oval. Oh, few guys actually. 3 wide, but we got nobody to draft off of in front of us. All right, well, at least we got Tony Stewart for 13th. All right, well, at least we got Tony Stewart for 13th. We got one of them. Better than nothing. Kyle Busch back out in front again. Oh, got to run after Dale Jr. on the back straightaway. He's out of line. So we'll draft past Dale Jr. Looking to the inside of Jeff Gordon. Gordon going to be able to block us in time on entry into turn 3. Oh, come on. Stay behind me, Tony. I think he's going to get us. Get a little aggressive with the block. There we go. Thought I was in danger of losing that spot to Stewart. All 43 cars have started, still in the race. Lap 16, caution free. In the draft, I'd like to think we could see speeds of 200 miles an hour during the race on Sunday. Especially early in the run. Although there wasn't really a lot of tire fall off last year anyway, but depends on what kind of a fuel situation we look at, because the way the stage splits have been in the stage racing era for the Brickyard 400 in particular, the first 2 stages being 50 laps in length make things very close to the edge of that fuel window. If you get 1 to 2 cautions. Goes green, you're probably not going to make it, but then you still want to save gas to kind of make it to the end of the run as close to it as possible. Starting to lose that front pack all of a sudden. Still in 12th place, but the top 10 have pulled away. Bobby Labonte in 11th is right in front of us. Probably going to have to focus on trying to bump draft him and get him back to this lead pack if we can get to his back bumper to push him. Should be able to. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in our rear view mirror. Halfway out of gas, right as we were crossing the start-finish line to get lap 18. There we go, big run. There's a big-time push in the back of the 43 car. Catching Jeff Gordon, who's kind of losing this lead pack, too. We were battling him for a bit, and then he pulled away. And he's already led, too, so I'd imagine Jeff Gordon's got a pretty good race car. Well, pushing Labonte, we got up to the back of the pack. I just set my fastest lap of the race as well, 49.537. Of these first 18 completed. Labonte on the inside of Jeff Gordon for 10th. And they'll be able to make the pass. Oh! Sorry, Jeff. I bum drafted him in a bad spot. I didn't hit him very square either. I kind of hit him too much on that left rear corner panel. Plus, we were just getting into turn 3 when the contact took place. Bouncing off that car to his outside actually kind of saved him, believe it or not. Now Kenny Schrader's out in front, another chase driver to lead already. 4 chase drivers have led in the first 20 laps out of the 12. Thought Larson was supposed to be in the CW booth for Xfinity. I think he was supposed to. Then he got asked to drive. I think he'd much rather be behind the wheel of a race car. It'd be hilarious if that was the reason for getting out of the broadcast, but he's like, I don't want to do this. His PR, people on his PR team are probably like, hey, you should do this or whatever. It'll be great for like the fan base at home watching, grow your fan support or whatever. And he'd be like, I don't want to do that. I'd rather just race. That sounds like something Kyle Larson would do. Like, I don't want to talk about racing. I want to actually do it. It's a race car driver at its purest form. Yeah, both the rear tires are definitely losing some stability. Car feels okay handling wise. It feels glued to the track. It just had a lot of tire wear on the super speedways with the cup cars though, so like I said, we were going to have to make 4 tire stops pretty much every pit stop anyway, unless we get a bunch of cautions during one course of a run, then maybe we can get away going fuel only and try to leapfrog the running order a little bit. It's definitely gotten harder to pass the closer to the front of the field we get. We're only 22 laps of the race and we went from last to 10th, so there's that. The problem is though, is I got up inside the top 20 in those first 6 laps. Then it's taken almost half a fuel run just to get the next 8 to 10 spots. This is where it's starting to feel more like the Daytona race. $35, $70, $105, $140, $175. Yep. It could be a 4-stop race depending on how many cautions we see. But yeah, as of right now from the start, it's looking like a 5-stop race, and we have 5 sets of tires we can put on it, so that'll work. The last run is where we can maybe get away with going fuel only. Happy for the new game. I think a lot of fans are excited for it too, including myself. Heat index over 110 in Nashville for the next few days. Well, they don't call it Nashville heat for a reason. Or they do call it Nashville heat. Yeah, I said that wrong. There's my brain fog creeping in. Trying to push Mark Martin. There we go. Gave him a quick shot. Yeah, we're losing that lead pack again. We're 2 seconds off the race lead. Stewart behind us starting to creep back in a bit. I pushed Mark Martin to try to get him underneath the Ken Schrader so we could draft past him and get to 8th and 9th, and all I did was push both of them forward and started losing them a bit. David Rudiman in the double zeros now leading. By the way, we're into the finals for both the Truck and the Cup Series driver polls on the community tab. I do have the first round for the Busch Series up for today's polls, and those will end tomorrow during the stream. And then we will get the final round for Cup Trucks and the second round for the Busch Series all up on the channel tomorrow. And then I'll wrap up the Busch Series on Friday. So then we'll be about halfway through the chase and we'll know the drivers who will be racing as for the following season. There we go. Now I've got to run. I could stick with Mark Martin. We could tag team our way by Kenny Schrader. That's what I was trying to do a couple laps ago. For some reason it didn't work out very well, but it did there. So up to 9th. Knowing where I qualified, I don't think I have great single car speed to kind of lead a line. Indianapolis, your favorite track? For the historical significance of winning at Indy, I love it too. As a race itself, obviously, I prefer the Indy 500 over the Brickyard 400 from a pure racing aspect, but there's still so much history, even in the short time that NASCAR's been going to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which has only been since the early 90s. They've had a lot of prestige in this race, and a lot of that is just the prestige of winning at Indianapolis, especially on this oval configuration. I'm excited for the weekend too. Very nostalgic. Chevy merch or Toyota merch? I don't know, man. I don't have any preference on what you should get. You're the one spending your money, so I don't want to like tell you what to get and then you take my word for it and then you don't like it because it's not money well spent. So I don't want to give you any opinions there. What I think is cool and what I go for whenever I go to NASCAR races is I usually try to add to my diecast collection. I've gotten past the point of buying like t-shirts and stuff just because I have so many of them now that I have a hard enough time alternating them throughout every race. Like I have like a dozen Blaney shirts, so if I wear them during every race throughout the course of the season, I only wear the same Blaney shirt 4 times throughout the course of a calendar year. I've got like 5 or 6 hats. I think I got 6 hats. So I can rotate those a little bit more often. Yeah, I've got enough of those, but I can never have enough die-cast, so those are my favorite things to get. I don't know if you're a die-cast connoisseur or not. I will say, though, from being at Indianapolis for NASCAR races twice, they don't really have a lot to choose from on the die-cast side of things. They don't really have tent vendors there like they do at a lot of the other racetracks I've been to in person. And it's not even just like a Southern NASCAR thing, because every year I go to Michigan, there's a ton of tent vendors that sell die-cast there. So it might be the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is a property that maybe they frowned upon, like outside services, people trying to make money near their property or something. There might be some like garage sales by local houses or something in the area, because the racetrack is basically in a small town in the suburbs of Indianapolis Speedway, Indiana, that you might be able to find something there if you kind of scavenge the neighborhood the morning or the weekend of the race. I've never tried to do that before for traffic reasons. You'd almost have to like park at the racetrack and then walk out of the facility to the area where people live or whatever. Maybe you could find something. If I get to the track early enough one of those years I go, maybe I should try to do something like that. I've gotten a couple of IndyCar die-casts from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway when I went to the Indy 500 in 2023. Don't want to spend over $100 for one. Talk about for a die-cast. They're not that expensive. It depends. Like if you buy a newer die-cast, you are probably going to end up spending close to 70, 80 bucks. I've never bought a new one from the track before. I usually try to go for the vintage stuff, and I've gotten them as cheap as $10. I went to Bristol one year, and I literally got 12 die-casts throughout the course of the Friday or the Thursday through Saturday night. Pretty much got like 3 to 4 of them a night. And I don't think I paid more than $50 for one of them. But most of them were 10 to 20 bucks. There was a couple that were in the 30 to 40 price range, depending on what paint scheme, who it was, how many they have of that particular car. What's the historical significance behind a particular paint scheme, if there is one? A lot of the Dale Jr. ones are going to be more expensive that I found. That's why I really only have like 2 or 3 Dale Jr. die-casts, even though he's got a lot of great schemes over the years. Still got to get that Wrangler Dale Jr. number 3 that he ran in the Xfinity race at Daytona back in 2010. We got to run after Mark Martin. Because we've lost this pack ahead of us and we're getting close to pit stops, I'm just going to try to pass Mark if I get an opportunity at it. Hopefully I can gain some time when we do get the green flag stops. It does sound like some of the cars are on their way to pit road right now. Not us. We're going to be staying out a little bit longer. That was a bad block. That's going to slow us down a lot. That's going to slow us down a ton. Yeah, well, I can already tell I'm not going to be cycling out of the pits in the top 10. That was on me. We might have had a speed glitch going on in the tri-oval there that had that happen. Because he definitely had a huge run on me, and it was clearly bigger than I thought it was going to be, hence the reason why I tried to block. I'm going to pit this time. I don't want to risk running out of gas. I think a large majority of the rest of the field is going to be coming in as well. How was Kenny Schrader not speeding on pit road? Like, I hit the commitment line right at about 70 miles an hour. I noticed that he was going faster than me, and then I was looking down at my speedometer. I'm like, I can't go that fast. I got to slow down still. Yeah, we were in 8th place before the pit stop started, and now we've got a fumble on the pit stop itself. So this is slow stop, the contact with Kenny Schrader in the tri-oval the lap before we pitted. This is not going to be good for us. We're going to cycle back pretty far in the running order. There goes Schrader, who we were just behind coming into the pits. Oh my gosh, we got to go, guys. My goodness, that was a slow stop. Get by Mike Wallace on the racetrack here. How slow was that? That was 22.9 second pit stop. That is slow. Oh, we've got trouble. Right in front of us. Mark Martin ran into Bobby Labonte. Labonte's got a ton of damage. And we're probably going to end up catching a debris caution at some point. So hopefully we can get another spot or two here before a yellow. Come on, keep her going. Up to 15th. I thought it was going to be in the back half of the field, honestly. I'll take 15th. I might be able to get a couple more yet. Got Clinton Boyer, Tony Stewart. Come on, dig, 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 dig. There we go. 13th. Got the restart gear in it. Sterling Marlin's still on pit road. I might be able to get another spot or two. I don't know how many more cars are out there. Way off the lead, but I'm pretty certain we're going to catch a caution sometime soon for debris, specifically off the 43 of Bobby Labonte. Went 33 laps on the opening run. Ruben Toplin, thanks for tuning in. Ethan Chua, welcome to the stream as well. 69 into the pits. Yeah, we were close. Fired the pit crew and replaced them with a better crew. If I was a team owner, I would definitely be considering it. They have not been good for me most of the season. The chase itself, we've had a couple of bad stops. They were really good at Dover, and that was like the only race they were consistent every single stop. I'm just trying to hang on to 13th. I don't want to give up any spots because I know we're going to catch a caution. We're 8.7 seconds off the lead. Our teammate Scott Riggs is out in front. And the reason why I think we're going to catch a caution, if you just missed us cycling off of pit road, there was contact between Bobby Labonte and Mark Martin specifically, and there was a ton of damage on the 43 of Labonte's car. Labonte, one of the chasers, obviously doesn't want to have an issue like that, but maintain our track position because it's hard to pass cars. Closer to the front of the field we've gotten. We've been as high as 8th in the running order. Technically, we were in 5th in the middle of green flag stops, but race running-wise, 8th place is as far as I've gotten. Brian Vickers leads. He's actually one of the finalists for our next season when we get to the custom schedule season. Brian Vickers, Tony Stewart, and Jeff Gordon are going to be in the final chat poll, or not chat poll, sorry, the community tab poll. And again, that will be tomorrow. I've got the first round of the Busch Series up there right now. Then the final round for the Truck Series will be between Travis Kvapil and Johnny Benson. So a couple of former champions. So we're going to be in some pretty good equipment for the Truck Series. Brian Vickers, Tony Stewart, or Jeff Gordon. So we're either going to be in a Joe Gibbs Chevy, a Hendrick Motorsports Chevy, or we're going to be in a Red Bull Racing Toyota. Which, if I have to drive as Vickers in a Red Bull Racing Toyota, I don't know what his grades are on the game, but that's going to be some competition for me. Because that's going to be a step below what we're in right now with Casey Kane, that's for sure. It's a new team. Like, Vickers actually won in that race car, but it wasn't in 2007. It's a couple years later. Once that team had a couple of years in them. Only going to have one teammate, which would be AJ Allmendinger. Buddy's a Ty Gibbs fan. There you go. Way to think of others. Somebody else's souvenir. I did not look back to see how many cautions we had in our first Dega race earlier in the season. Still got a little bit of damage on the right rear corner panel. Not terrible. Shouldn't be affecting the speed much. I haven't lost time to Riggs. We were 8.8 seconds out of the lead when we first cycled out of the pit, so leading this line, we're not losing time. And I get if I hop in line in second and bump draft, I might be able to catch them, but that wasn't a guarantee the last run that I was able to do that either. We have a race-winning car if we can get track position, but to actually pass cars that are at the front of the field, I don't know that that's going to be where we're going to have the race-winning speed. One IndyCar diecast. Never been to Indy. .164 scale from... Did that iRacing race? Oh, okay. That's a unique one. Noah, don't miss. Thanks for tuning in. So weird seeing the Bud 8 and the COT. It is. It really is. Yeah, that's one of those odd ones. That and seeing Tony Stewart to Joe Gibbs number 20 in a COT, that always looked weird to me too. Even though that was for 2 years. But yeah, that was always odd. Another odd one, at least with this game, is seeing Casey Mears in the 24 car in the Busch Series. It's the Jeff Gordon Hendrick Motorsports font, too. With the same number. But it's Casey Mears. It's like a fever dream. There are a couple of two-car tandems that have lost the lead pack. And Mark Martin's really having a tough time trying to stay with me. Maybe there's a chance we run down a couple of these guys. Clump back into one giant pack at the front of the field that way. I still think we're going to catch a caution before our next pit stop. The question is can we get far along now that I could potentially go off strategy and gain track position that way and get laps led, but in a better way than what I did at Kansas by not giving ourselves a poor finish with it. Third stop would be lap 99. Next stop would be lap 66. Going 33 laps a run. We've already gone about 10 laps since our first pit stop. If anything, if I do go off sequence, just hope that I'm close enough to the front of the field for the last stop. We go splash and go at the end of the race if I am a few laps short and everybody pits under green, or if it's under caution, I still go splash and go and get track position that way. So there's ways to kind of maneuver around it, even if I can't make it on field to the end. If I can get close, that could put us in a better spot to hopefully take the lead later in the race on strategy side of things. Because again, I don't think I have a race-winning car. Which would make sense, because I only led a couple of laps the first day of the race and finished 4th. .132 and 165 would be the ultimate, yep. So it would be 23 laps to go. We'd have to see probably 7 or 8 cautions in the race to make it on 4 stops then. Sterling Marlin was the only driver that went 34 laps. And then pretty much half the field split between lap 32 and 33. We were at the lap 33 side. Well, Pablo Montoya's in our rear view now. I think if we catch a caution, we have to pit, whether the rest of the field does or doesn't. I think that'll be my strategy. I think we're far enough into it now. 13 laps. Well, I guess I'd still be about 10 laps short. Plus the caution laps, so probably closer to maybe 7 laps short. 8 laps short, give or take. Probably quite a few Briscoe fans there. Good equipment now with JGR. Kind of riding a summer hot streak going into his home track at Indy. Indiana native. People from Indiana love their Indiana-born drivers. The Tony Stewarts, the Ryan Newmans of the world, now Chase Briscoe in this era of NASCAR. Catching Dale Jr. Is that Ricky Rudd in the 88 with him? As soon as I caught the draft of Dale Jr., we closed in an extra half a second to the leader, Scott Riggs. Problem is once Dale Jr. and Ricky Rudd got in line with one another in the corner, they kind of pulled back away from me a bit. Dale gets out of line from behind Ricky in the straightaways just a bit, but then when they get into the corners, they're both hugging that yellow line on the inside, which I am too, but I'm not close enough to them. Plus, I don't have another push car behind me, with me lacking a little bit of single car speed. There we go. Now they got out of line with one another again there. Come on, Dale, stay out of the line. Do it for me. Well, Jeff Gordon raced in the state of Indiana a lot growing up. He's not necessarily from Indiana. He always kind of claimed for it to be kind of his second home. Cut his teeth on a lot of the dirt racing ranks growing up in that area, and obviously dirt racing's huge in the state of Indiana as well. Really just the Midwest in general, but Indiana, your Pennsylvanias, Ohio's, that whole area. This whole area, I guess, considering I live in that area, huge on dirt racing. Kings Royal at Eldora was just last weekend. Got a nice run after Dale Jr. Little contact there. Making things a little interesting. I wanted to get that car in line behind me. Car behind me and a car in front. I think I maybe go places now. Contact cost me quite a bit of time, though. Kyle Busch actually just passed Scott Riggs for the lead, too. We're going to lap 50. I am shocked that we have not seen a debris caution yet. When we passed Bobby Labonte coming out of the pits after he had that damage with Mark Martin, I knew that Labonte had a lot of damage, and I would assume Mark Martin had a lot, too. So if we catch one debris caution from one of them, I would imagine we're going to catch another one almost immediately after. Which could also save gas a little bit if we get close to the end of a kind of a fuel window cycling or close to a new one opening. Try to make this race on the shortest amount of stops from the time of the yellow possible. $50 laps in, though. Halfway out of gas at this point in the run. Which is the same pacing that we had earlier today in the first fuel run that went caution-free, where we went right at the start of the 18th lap at the start-finish line is when I hit halfway out of gas. Same thing with this run, considering I pitted at 33, so I cycled out at 34, and this would be lap 18 of that run. So just to play it safe, because you don't want to run out of gas here. 2.66 mile oval would be tough to make it back around depending on where I run out of gas at. Try not to lose too much time, because we lost time during the first stop, which was on me for making a bad block on Kenny Schrader in the tri-oval at that time. Bump draft to Ricky. David Rudemann's in the lead. So it's at least a three-car group up at the very front. With Riggs, Rudeman, and Kyle Busch. Oh, that's the 83 that's leading? The font up on the track map makes it look like it's David Rudeman to me. It looks like a 00 on my TV screen. I wouldn't have guessed that that's an 83. And there's our caution at lap 53, 20 laps into the run. I mean, I would assume everybody's going to pit here. I feel like we ran enough laps. It is the Bobby Labonte debris caution that I was expecting, but I was expecting it 20 laps ago. I wasn't expecting it there. Haven't seen the big one yet. Yeah, well, we came close during the end of that pit sequence with Bobby Labonte and Mark Martin. They kind of straightened it up pretty quickly, but clearly the 43's got a lot of damage. And he was running by himself, so he probably lost a lot of that track position running order. We'll pit for tires along with it. Looks like the rest of the field is coming in as well. So second stop of the race. Everybody's on their way in for fuel and tires. No 2-tire stops for me. So we were 12th when the caution came out. I'm just hoping for better than 12th. Or even 12th itself. Don't lose any positions. We had a 22.9 second stop on the first one. We got guys leaving pit road already. Come on, go, 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 go. That's 5, I think. 6. Go. Go. Don't stutter. Oh, Mark just beat us. I think I gained positions, though. That was a way better stop than I had earlier. We're in the top 10. And I have the restart gear in it, so let's see how many more I can get here at the end of the front stretch. Single file restart. We're in 7th. Hey, I'll take that. That's a 5-spot gain on pit road. Green flag back in the air. Go, baby, go. We might be able to get to the lead here. I'm going to the apron. I don't care. I've not led yet. There's no out of bounds rule on this game. I'm going to exploit it. It's a legal pass in my eyes. NASCAR will be sitting on that black flag. And caution's out immediately after I took the lead. Let's go. I mean, that couldn't have worked out any better. Now I'm going to get my 5 bonus points because I'll lead under caution. And it's more debris off Bobby Labonte's car. You would think he just came to pit road. It is the 00. Oh, okay, so I did have that right. All right, it's glad to know my eyes still work to a certain extent. More debris for Bobby Labonte. So it must have been his front bumper first. Now it's his hood. Back-to-back cautions here at Dega. Our first 2 cautions of the race. Save a little bit more gas. And now we lead for the first time. We'll have another single file restart. And again, we've led under caution. Haven't led under green yet. Lap 61 of 188. It didn't take me over 100 laps to lead, though, like it did in the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. Jeff Gordon's back at 29th. What happened? He was leading at the beginning of the race. I mean, it's Talladega. I guess he'll probably be back up at the front at some point. Ricky Rudd was in the top 10 earlier, too. Is there anybody out of the race yet? I haven't noticed it. Newman's 42nd. And Labonte with the damage is last. So nobody's out, but Labonte's got a lot of damage, and he's not out of it, but I don't know if he's going to be competing for much today. By the way, Sterling Marlin won at Kansas in the last race, so the fact that he's up at the front of the field now and just is coming off his first win of the season at Kansas, what a hot streak for Sterling Marlin. And back-to-back races. There's our first green flag lap led of the day. I got way out ahead on this restart. They will probably end up catching me at some point here. Stay out of the draft as much as I can so they don't get a massive run. I mean, they're probably going to get something of it. Track position's so vital. So for me to restart that close to the front of the field and nab the lead and then catch the quick caution on top of it. Because I was kind of blocking for my life down the back straightaway before the yellow flag came out. I was able to get another good launch with another restart. This time I was already ahead of everybody, so that only helped even more. Wait to see if Mark Martin maybe has some damage from the contact he had with Bobby Labonte, because he was also involved. But when I was racing around Mark Martin in the draft after that happened, I didn't notice much damage on his car like I did with Labonte when I first passed him, because obviously he's fallen to the back. I'm just managing a 7/10 of a second lead. I mean, I'll do that for this run. I mean, it might make for a boring race on your guys' side of things for the moment, but I'll take all the laps led I can get. Especially not leading in the first just over 50 laps of the race. We're behind on trying to get the most laps led right now. We've got enough laps to definitely catch back up to that. We have 125 to go at the line. So we have a lot of racing left. So with how the caution laps kind of flew, we pitted under the lap 53 caution. But it's going to be hard to tell exactly how far we're going to be able to go into this run. I don't think we're going to be able to make it to lap 99. Likely would have for the third stop had there not been any yellows. And we just pitted under green at lap 66 because we're not even to lap 66 yet. We've already ran a couple green flag laps after the restart, so actually a little bit behind where we were. Still got 3 sets of tires left the rest of the way. So I'd like to think that that's not going to be an issue for us. Xfinity race from the Roval's at 5 instead of 4. Wait, what? Hang on. It's at 5 Eastern from 2 or 4:30. 5 instead of 4. Which one is it? I would assume that they're moving it around because the CW carries college football. I think the ACC specifically plays on the CW, so they're probably kind of correlating that around whatever game that they have scheduled in the afternoon. Maybe they had a noon game or something. Probably got a noon nationally televised game on CW for the ACC that Saturday, so they moved the Xfinity back a bit. That's a late start time for a track that doesn't have lights in the fall, especially Eastern time. They start at 5. It's hard telling when sundown's going to be at that time of the year exactly, but I would imagine it's got to be about 7:30. Definitely not going to be as late as it is now. Even that might be pushing it. It's not a long race, though. It's only about 55 laps or so. Well, the oval has lights, but they don't have lights in the infield of the racetrack that they could actually run a night race with at the oval, so that's why they've always ran it in the daytime. It doesn't the lights on the outside of the track don't spotlight the infield enough for them to be able to run that course at night. They would have to have some more lighting in the infield section. Race in the dark at the oval. I can guarantee you they can't. I've been to Charlotte for the 600 before. I can tell you right now, the infield is not lit up very, very bright. Usually with most ovals, especially, like the intermediate tracks like that, the lights on the outside of the track will shine bright enough. They'll get to about the pit road area, and then like everything beyond the pit boxes into the infield, I mean, it's pretty dark. There might be some spotlights or something like that in the infield, but there isn't like actual like track lights, I guess. Not to the extent that they have scattered around the racetrack on the perimeter. Did it in 2020 in the rain. Well, I mean, it was dark because it was raining, but it wasn't nighttime. Like, nighttime dark is different from it's raining outside the daytime dark. Like, we're talking pitch black versus overcast skies, essentially. Yeah, the fact that we have a 1 second lead on the field is pretty insane. But again, it definitely makes our race easier. Lap 70. Definitely not able to save gas because we're not drafted off of anybody, but we're kind of pulling these guys a bit. Like I said, I'll take those extra laps led. Night races at Talladega, I mean, that would only add to the... I always wonder why the movie itself is called Talladega Nights, specifically. Like, why they settled on... I understand why Talladega's in the name. Like, they actually had cars on the track at Talladega for that movie. But, I don't know. Maybe it's just got a better ring to it than, like, Daytona Nights or something. I don't know. The atmosphere and the part of NASCAR I feel like they tried to portray in the movie maybe was more fitting for like a Talladega infield kind of situation than what it would have been with any other tracks. The Talladega infield galore was probably really hyped even back in 2005 when that movie came out. Or 2006, whatever year the movie came out. I think it was 06, wasn't it? Because I think the movie came out the same year that Cars came out too. The original Cars movie. They couldn't be two more contrastly different movies about pretty much the same thing. I guess one's a PG version and the other one is far from it. So it has a lot to do with it. Kind of curious if somebody drops out of the race, because the only area where we saw those cars get damage, which was pretty much just Bobby Labonte, they were coming out of the pits where cars were already on the racetrack following their stop, and they hit them down on the bottom of the track in turns 1 and 2. Which we've seen those kinds of cautions at Talladega in the earlier EA games before this that we played. So that part of it's definitely not shocking. But not only we may see that at the end of green flag pit stops a lot today, but if somebody blows a motor, which we haven't seen at this point, all 43 cars that started are still in the race, that could happen at that point as well, and that could cause some extra cautions throughout the course of this one, because right now 2 cautions in the first 74 laps is a little bit surprising, but I can definitely see a scenario where we could start racking up the yellows in the second half of the race. We'll have a more clear idea of where we're at for fuel purposes when we get to the next pit stop. Just hit halfway out of gas right now, but just having the 2 cautions when we did, for me personally, it's hard to decide exactly what lap we're going to be pitting next. The 16, 17 laps from lap 74, so probably 88 or 89, which is 10 or 11 laps shy of where the initial third stop would have been. You wonder if that makes it as if we might end up having to pit an extra time later. Shouldn't, because I guess we would have only been about 13 laps short for that. So now it's going to be closer to a 23 laps shy, 24 maybe. COT car slower at Talladega in this game. You know what? I haven't noticed that until you just mentioned it. Our speeds are pretty slow. 175. Huh. Maybe that has a lot to do with why I'm pulling away from the pack as the leader. In the pack, it felt just like it did with the Gen 4 at Daytona and Talladega the first go-around. But yeah, I didn't realize how much slower we were running. Granted, I'm not in the draft either, but even still, I feel like I'd be breaking 180. Got a haircut yesterday. You know, I kind of miss those days. On the not having hair side of things anymore. I just shave my own head now, so. Yeah, I haven't been to a barber in a couple years now. It's just something like you walk out of there and you feel like a whole new person. You feel like the best version of you. That's a hole in my life that I might never get back. So I don't go there for my beard because I can do all that stuff myself. I take great care of my beard. So between that and just shaving my head's not hard. I'm talented enough, at least with my own clippers. Had I had a full head of hair still, that'd be a little bit different story. I wouldn't trust myself with that, but. Family reunions next week? Ah, yes, the summertime family reunions. I haven't had one in a really long time. Honestly, ever since COVID, I don't think we've done them anymore. We did them like every year and then didn't do it in 2020 because of COVID, and then I don't think we've ever done a family reunion since then. We usually get a lot of people at this like park area. A couple towns over from where I live. Rent the place out and probably had like 100 people there, if not more. But yeah, we haven't done that since then. I think that was like that cutoff period of the last time we had something like that. There's one car well behind the pack, but I think that's just Bobby Labonte with his damage. I'm curious to know if he's going to be the one to drop out of the race at some point with the damage he already has and how far off the rest of the pace of the pack that he is. David Gilliland's been up in the top 5 for most of this race. Currently in second. He could be one of the ones to beat if he gets his track position, gets the lead back. So you haven't outright made a pass for the lead other than when we were getting up to speed in the restart zone. So I don't know what it's going to be like in the event of that. Or following green flag pit stops, not only if I lose the lead, but even if I come out with the lead, but it's a closer margin. Picker's got to be on it because we're going to be making 4-tire stops. It's not like the EA games before this where we're doing right sides only or left sides only. Where we could put a gap on the field. I really can't get away with doing that because my tires are going to be hurting on the next run. Maybe not immediately, but throughout the course of the run they will be, and I'm going to be running much slower than I would be otherwise. And I don't want to feel that kind of suffer. Need to have the drivability in the race car to be able to attack even in situations where I don't have to, like right now because we're in the lead. We have it. Now I just got to focus on not losing it. I've done my job to this point. The only other thing I can do on my job is not speed when we have our green flag pit stops, and assuming we get to our green flag stops, I'm still going to try to take this run as far as I can here first, just for the fuel side of things, and just got to hope we don't catch a caution, at least until after I cycle either off of pit road or after I'm already on pit road. At least got to get to the commitment line. We get to within 99 laps to go. Then I know that that for sure is my window to make it on 3 stops to the end of the race. We're almost there. We're at 108 to go right now. So we got about 9 more laps to get into our window. Nemo Prods, thanks for tuning in. Been a while. How have I been? I've been great. Hopefully you have too. I'm kind of woken myself up a little bit as the stream has gone on. Probably because I'm just talking more than I was earlier in the day. Just kind of dragging all day. One of those tired days. Definitely a vastly different Talladega race than I was expecting so far. Quarter of a tank of gas left this point in the run. Got cousins from all over the country. Well, we're not going to be able to make it to lap 99. The way the caution's laid out and everybody pitting during that first yellow, we're not going to be able to go that far. Not anymore. Still just gradually sneaking out ahead of these guys. 1.8 second lead. Well, I played the new game, oh, for sure. Yeah, as soon as NASCAR 25 drops or I get my hands on a copy, however that comes about, you will see pretty much nothing but NASCAR 25 content unless it's a Friday or Saturday or Sunday that the NASCAR ranks of the Truck Xfinity or Cup Series are on track, where I'll be streaming that instead. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of NASCAR 25 content on the channel, I can assure you that. I'm hoping we get the official release date sometime this week. That'd be nice. If not this week, I'm sure they'll have it next week at the latest. It'd be nice to have a new NASCAR game for the first time in 4 years. It's hard to believe it's been that long already. Yeah, fuel's definitely getting light. Any laps beyond lap 89 we could go. That's the further that solidify we're going to make this thing on 3 more stops. Stuck playing NASCAR rival. Yeah, well, we've been playing all these classic EA games the last few years, so I mean, these are fun and all, but it'd be nice to have something new on the next gen console too that we have not had yet. Just curious to see what that'll look like from the visual side of things. An updated driver roster that I'm not used to because we're doing a lot of these old EA games where there's not many active drivers today that are in this game. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, AJ Allmendinger. That's about it. For the Cup Series, at least. Everybody else is retired. At least full-time. Like, Jimmy Johnson still races part-time. I guess Truex ran the 500 this year. Casey Kane ran an Xfinity race this year. I've played Dirt to Daytona before, but it's been a really long time. Seeing gameplay of that game within the last couple of years on other NASCAR YouTube channels, no way I'd be doing full races like this of that game. That's why I haven't broken into it. They'd be way too chaotic for the wrong reasons. Not at every track, but golly. Like, running the laps under caution would take so long, too. That you're basically having to do on that game. Like, you could skip it, but then it's going to kind of shorten the fuel run a little bit. The drivability in the car is a lot harder to drive, so to make that for a full race without wrecking every time, that'd be tough. There would be moments where it'd be hilarious and fun, and there'd be other moments where it'll be a pain for me. We're going to go one more lap on fuel. We've got cars pitting this time. We were of that second group the last time to pit, so that's what I'm hoping for this go around. We'll be at lap 90. So we're at 89 laps, or sorry, 90. Let me get this right. Yeah, we're at 99 laps to go right now. So our fuel window is open to make this race on 3 more pit stops. Definitely not going to stretch this an extra lap beyond this. Sure we don't speed coming into the pits here. Did a great job on the last stop. That we did have to make under green as well. That is insane that Matt Kenseth came from about 2 seconds behind me to literally pulling up alongside of me onto pit road. That is unbelievable. Gained a lot of time. All right, we need a clean stop this time. The boys have been inconsistent today. Got to hang on to this lead. I probably wasn't quite as aggressive getting into the pits as I was before that, but it was a pretty solid pit entry. I didn't make any mistakes. 18 seconds, not bad. Oh my gosh, I'm not even going to be the first car out. I'm hoping I can get up to speed quicker than Matt Kenseth. I may be able to. We're in second. Come on, we got to go. I think that's the first time Kenseth's led today. One of the chase drivers. There we go. Passed him on the apron. That's good. Back in the lead. And we're under caution. Probably for somebody running into a Car down on the apron below. Turns 1 and 2. Third caution of the day. Kenny Schrader, another chase driver involved. Oh boy. Up on his side. Well, there's... People were wondering, I'm surprised we haven't seen the big one yet today. That was close. I mean, car count-wise, it wasn't necessarily the big one, but it was a hard crash. Mark Martin involved. AJ Allmendinger. 5 cars had a piece of damage from that. Might end up seeing some debris cautions. No, I haven't seen Full Speed on Netflix. I haven't even watched the Vince McMahon docu-series on there yet. That's been out for a while now as a pro wrestling fan. I've watched a lot of the Vice Dark Side of the Ring stuff. I don't watch like TV. If it's not live sports, I really don't watch. I'm either golfing when it's warm out, playing video games. If I'm eating, then I'll watch a little bit of YouTube. There's various YouTube channels are more wrestling. Like the only like TV that I really watch on a consistent basis outside of live sports would be pro wrestling. No, I didn't finish the Earnhardt stuff either. Yep, caution's out. Debris, I'm sure. Lap 95, full lap after the restart. The good news is we cycled out of the green flag pit stops with the lead. Looks like Jeff Burton's got some damage. Bring it out of yellow. That car is destroyed. How did he not fall out of the race after that contact? So many cars running over the debris. Mark Martin's got a ton of damage. He'll probably have a debris caution here shortly. I'm going to have to pause it here in a little bit so I can get a refill of my water. I'm expecting there to be another caution or two here, so I'll wait this out a little bit more. Oh, somebody just blew an engine at the front of the line. I might jack some cars up in turns 1 and 2 also. Somebody from the top 10 just pulled out of line with an engine failure right as they were getting to speed. So I'm definitely expecting a Mark Martin debris caution. I don't know about anybody else or any more debris yellows other than one more we'll probably get before the next pit stop. Have to get to within 66 laps to go before we pit. That car that blew up on the restart's going to be able to get into the pits well before we'll catch them again. Got 88 laps to go. 100 laps complete at Talladega. Thoughts on Carson Hocevar? He's got a lot of speed and a lot of talent for as not the top tier equipment that he's in. I'd like to think he's going to be somebody that's definitely going to be around in the Cup Series for a long time. That I can be pretty sure and saying. I'm sure he'll break through to victory lane at some point at the Cup level. I think I've seen enough out of him, and he's competed for wins already. I'm curious to see what he would look like if he can get a ride with, you know, a team that's a little bit higher up on the echelon of competing for wins more often. And there's our next debris caution. I would assume that this is the Mark Martin yellow. If it's not, then we'll probably get at least one more. And it was a front bumper off Mark Martin. I don't know how damaged his hood is. His hood might come off still, but I'm not going to guarantee it. So 5 cautions so far today in the UAW Ford 500 at Talladega. Everybody's got to pit 2 more times in the race yet. And we're going to be down around 80 laps to go in the restart. So we are past halfway. Yeah, he definitely doesn't race for anybody else other than himself, that's for sure. He definitely gets in his own way, I think, a little bit too much, but that's part of, you know, being a young driver and being in the Cup Series at this young of an age. It's not like we haven't seen something like that before. We've seen a lot of drivers that have had success at this level that have had that. It's just inexperience. There's a bit more racecraft to go in there. I think the equipment that he's in, he's obviously getting the most out of it and then some. To that extent, he might be using his stuff up a little bit more. I mean, we do see mechanical failures a lot. I think some of that could land on the driver aspect of things because they maybe only are built to run a certain speed, and he's taking that extra 10%. That's where I think he would be great if he was able to get a ride at a Hendrick down the road or something of that nature. I don't really know where those spots will open up. I mean, maybe if like a 48 of Bowman is out of there, but that's a year-over-year conversation that I don't really think he's going anywhere. If you're ever to look at a year where that could be the case, maybe this year could be the year just because he's hovering around the cutoff line on points, where the other 3 are literally the top 3 in the point standings. And there's a significant decrease from the top 3 teams at that 4-car organization to the 4th team. Colleague or RCR, I don't see those as being an upgrade, though. I wouldn't go there if I were Carson. I wouldn't leave Spire while they're showing this kind of capability right now, unless a spot at a Gibbs, like maybe Denny Hamlin retires, but at the same time you got Corey Hunt, in the pipeline for 23-11. Maybe Corey moves up to the 45 and Reddick goes to JGR at some point when Hamlin retires, although Hamlin's won 4 races this year, so I don't want to say that retirement year is going to be any time in the next year or two. It might be another 3-4 years plus down the road before Hamlin retires, but just the rate he's winning at, you're winning 4 races a season. I don't see why you would want to steer away from that. He said he's always wanted to retire while he's still competitive. He's definitely competitive. Or he doesn't. If he felt that he couldn't go out there and win any given weekend, then he would consider it. But he's got the most wins this year. Yeah, I don't think Colleague. Honestly, you can almost consider Colleague to be. I'd say that's a downgrade from Spire. I mean, they've been right around where AJ's been in points all year between the 71 and 77 teams at Spire. They're outrunning Ty Dillon. I say Denny doesn't retire within the next 3 years, and I'm counting this year. So this year, next year, the year after, I think he's definitely locked in for those 3 years. And then you get 4 years down the road plus, I think that's where it becomes questionable just because it's so far off in the future. But he's adapted to this next-gen car very well, and a lot of the older drivers around his age or older didn't. So kudos to Denny to be able to do that. You know, Kyle Busch has struggled. We saw his last year at JGR, not great, you know, even before he went to RCR. And won 3 races off the rip. Looked like the old Kyle Busch was back, and then the second half of 2023 hit, and it's kind of back to where he was the year or two before that. Martin Truex Jr. kind of the same way. Didn't he only win like 2 races during the next-gen era, 2 or 3? In the 3 full-time years he had, and they were all in one season. He went winless his last year, and he went winless in 2022. Kevin Harvick is another one. He only had 2 wins, and they were back-to-back weeks out of Michigan and Richmond in 2023. Ryan Keselowski is another one. Now, granted, he's at a newly rebranded RFK. I wouldn't say that the equipment level is anywhere near where the Penske guys are at. Well, I'd say they're getting near now, but especially when he first went over there, not the case. But still, another driver hasn't won as much. Former Cup champion in the yesteryear of NASCAR, Gen 6 and before. And the only other driver that I would consider that has been good enough to win races on a consistent basis with the next gen, that was a perennial title contender before with the Gen 6, not counting Kyle Larson because he's not very old. I mean, he's, what, barely 30 years old now, so I'm not going to say that. Same for like Chase Elliott, but like of the older drivers that have been around a long time, Joey Logano. But even him, age-wise, isn't as old as Denny. Like, Denny's got like 7 or 8 years on him. Joey's just been around for a long time because he was in the Cup Series when he was 18 years old. In-season challenge got Ty Dillon. Ty Dillon, I would imagine, is definitely the fans' pick for this weekend. I think a lot of fans would like to see Ty Dillon win the in-season tournament challenge for $1 million. Because all logic has basically been thrown out the window every single round with this in-season tournament. This week it was kind of predictable in the sense that I knew both matchups were going to be close on paper. Equipment level-wise, both of the teams were kind of close to where they were and how they were competing during the summer. But yeah, the Ty versus Ty show. Gibbs is definitely the favorite, but I could see a situation where Gibbs gets caught up in some sort of an early incident or has like a pit penalty or something early, and Ty Dillon basically has it on lockdown for the second half of the race. And credit to Ty Dillon for at least completing all the laps in these races throughout the tournament schedule, because although that is pretty much all he needed to do for the most part to be able to advance in the first 4 rounds, he's been able to do it when his counterparts haven't been able to, or at least get in some sort of an incident that caused them to not have as good of a day as they would have hoped, despite being in much better equipment. He's gotten here for a reason. Definitely a little bit of luck involved, but he's beaten them one way or another. If I won $1 million, what would I do with it? I would definitely pay the rest of my car off. With what I owe, that wouldn't really cut into that much. And I would probably look at buying a house. Have that on lockdown, and still got money left over. I really don't have any need to buy necessarily anything else, and the rest of it I'm just kind of saving, chipping away. I'd go from working full-time to working low part-time hours just so I still have something coming in, but I can make that last a while, that's for sure. Without having to, kill myself like I'm doing now with working 60 hours a week on top of doing this. I definitely wouldn't be doing that anymore. Imagine if they, can you imagine you win the in-season tournament, it's $1 million, and you get a playoff spot? That would be ridiculous. There would be so much of an outcry on the internet from NASCAR fans everywhere. Scorched earth on X. It already is on a semi-daily basis. Retire early, focus on being an uncle. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to retire off $1 million, that's for sure. I'm still a little too young for that. I mean, it depends on the living situation. I mean, if I went like a cheap apartment route instead of like buying a house and stuff like that, and yeah, I maybe could get away with it, but I wouldn't be able to do the things that I want to do on top of that. Like I pretty much have to live such a sheltered life with that to be able to have it last. I mean, I'm about to be 26. I would theoretically think I would need that $1 million to last me at least 50 years. Gamble it with your money. That sounds like a terrible idea. I wouldn't recommend that. Probably not a wise investment. It's either really going to work out for you, or you're going to be kicking yourself in the sake that you're going to be like, I had $1 million in the palm of my hands and I blew it. That'd be tough to live with. I wouldn't advise that. Coming up on 70 to go this time by. Our field window opens up with 66 laps left. So we had a yellow right after we pitted. Like, we weren't even up to speed yet. Then we had 2 debris cautions after the fact, so that would have put us at 5 cautions on the day. It's been a very straightforward race so far. We're dominating in laps led all of a sudden because nobody's touched us for the lead. Ken's led 1 lap. And then we got past him as we were getting up to speed, and then the yellow flag came out. For that crash involving Kenny Schrader and others. Favorite NASCAR driver of all time? See, that's a good question. I grew up a Greg Biffle fan, but I'm such a big Ryan Blaney fan. Since he's gotten into the Cup Series, I think I have to go Ryan Blaney. I think I'm more of a Blaney fan than what I was a Biffle fan growing up. And obviously as a kid, I mean, everything's kind of heightened to a greater extent, but looking at it, you know, now I probably have to say that. I probably have to say I'm more of a Ryan Blaney fan. I just have a closer connection with the Blaney family than I ever would have with Greg Biffle growing up. From watching Dale race sprint cars locally and occasionally catching a Dave Blaney sprint car sighting somewhere. And them being my favorites from Ohio. I'm Ohio born. Ryan Blaney getting into NASCAR at a young age. I'm like, yeah, he's going to be my guy. And then now he's a Cup champion. Crazy how things have turned out that way. I've been to far more races as an adult than what I was as my tenure of a Biffle fan when he was in NASCAR. Like, I've only seen Greg Biffle race in person twice, maybe 3 times. I've been to 2 or 3 Cup races where he's raced. It's because I didn't go to as many races when I was growing up. compared to being able to have the affordability to just kind of travel on my own. I didn't have a lot of family members that were necessarily into like NASCAR and stuff like that, so my grandpa didn't take me, and the few times that I've ever gone with him, pretty much a lot of the races I've gone to, I've pretty much just traveled by myself. Figure it's something I've always wanted to do, try to get to as many tracks as I can, as many races as I can, so I'm going to do it. Somebody wants to join me, awesome. If not, I'm still going to do it. You know, I'm going to do the things I've always wanted to do. So yeah, I just didn't have that close of a tie with Biffle growing up. I was watching him on TV, and that was pretty much about it. Playing with him as on the video games growing up, because he was my favorite driver, obviously, so I was racing as Biffle a lot. That was my connection with him. But like getting like pit passes and stuff at local sprint car shows, and seeing specifically it was Dale Blaney like up close a lot, but there were a few times Dave would race and I would catch him, but he was in the NASCAR ranks for a lot of that, so he wasn't really racing as much on the dirt car stuff. But all-time favorite Jimmy Johnson current is Chase Elliott. Matt Kenseth in 2012, been a Kenseth fan. Favorite driver in NASCAR is Ross Chastain. There you go. That's who my uncle, actually, he's a Chastain fan now. He was Harvick through pretty much his entire career, and then he was stumbling to try to pick a driver, and he has a lot of like Busch Light Harvick stuff. So now that Chastain's got the same sponsors and stuff, and turning a lot of heads there a couple of years ago as Harvick was leaving too. It's a good graduating point to be a Chastain fan. Got to see Kenseth race in person 5 times. Yeah, I've seen him a little bit more just because he ran, like for instance, I seen him run in person quite a few times. 2018, he came back and ran the 6 car for Roush, and then he filled in for Larson in 2020, the Ganassi car. So those were races in my early adult years that I was able to go to more races in person. So I've seen Kenseth race quite a few times, but Biffle was gone for full-time Cup competition after 2016. So I got to see him at Michigan in 15. And then the only other races I got to see him run were the couple that I got to see him in person for the New York Racing 44 team, which I think was Atlanta in 22 and the 500 that year. And I think those are the only 3 races I've seen Biffle race in person. Oh, I also saw him win or not win, but I saw him race a truck race at Darlington too in 2020. He had a top 10 that day. But yeah, that's it. That's all I've seen of my man, the Biff. I still find it cool, though, how the only Daytona 500 I've ever been in person, and I got to see Greg Biffle race one last 500. That was pretty darn cool. That made those dual races so fun to watch that Thursday in person. I'm like, oh, come on, Biff. Got the races way in, and I'm like, yes, I got like 2 favorite drivers in the race now on Sunday. That's a weird feeling. Unfortunately, with mechanical issues, he dropped out of the race like 40 laps in, unfortunately, but I wish he could have raced it out at least long enough to actually get some good racing in there. For up a Casey Kane fan. Oh, Casey Kane for the first couple years, Ed Kyle fan from 08 to 22. So you're a Kyle fan then, but you're not a Kyle fan now. That's interesting. Didn't go with him to RCR, fandom-wise. Got quite a few cars pitting right now, by the way. Go a little bit further on fuel. I don't have to necessarily pit right now. Our fuel light's not even flashing yet. But I think we're going to end up potentially catching another caution, so I don't know if I want to take this too far. That'd be one way to lose track position. Maybe go one more lap. Vast majority of the cars are going to hit pit road right now. There's a few of them staying out, but not many. I think I was able to get away with staying out that time, and then I'll end up pitting this time by. We'll have 60 laps to go when I cycle off of pit road. Kind of hesitated. I thought I was going to close in on these guys a little quicker. There's Casey Mears at the back of the pack. All right. Coming in. And I'm in. I can see a caution while I'm in the pits, honestly. But I hit the commitment line, which was the big thing. That's all I wanted. It's kind of better to be of this last group of cars, I think, to pit than anything. Angel TT, thanks for tuning in. Like Briscoe right now. Just staying with the Gibbs side of things. Kyle Busch fan for the first time, saw him at Talladega. Saw Austin Dillon. He signed your dad's Elliott hat. Awesome. A great pit stop for our crew. Lost the lead initially here. Trying to get it back. A couple more cars still on pit road. Oh, caution! Right as I was trying to pass Dale Jr. on the apron, the caution flag comes out. I don't know if I was ahead of him or not. And it was Scott Riggs running into the back of Kurt Busch. Riggs into the wall. Back across the racetrack and up on his side. And there was another car on their side a little further back. It was hard to tell who that was. Oh, it's Elliott Sadler. He got hit by Kyle Busch. Caution number 6, our second crash. Dave Blaney was parked on the track. He got hit by Dale Jarrett. We're probably going to have more debris cautions than we did from the earlier incidences. Dale Jr. was barely scored in front of us when the caution flag came out. So Dale Jr. will be the leader. We'll be in second. And the green flag is back in the air, and I'm sure we'll get more debris yellows here as we have 55 laps to go at Dega. Kane to the lead into the first turn. Got the restart gear in it. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get some debris yellows this year. Fuel window will open up with 33 laps to go, so have to keep that in mind depending on how many cautions we get. Definitely won't make it to the end from here. We have definitely not seen the last yellow. Went to the 500 this year. Got your card side included in 710. Jeremy Clements. Yeah, I was into collecting sports cards when I was a kid, and then I just kind of stopped doing that. As I was a kid, I didn't really have many NASCAR cards. It was mostly baseball, hockey, a lot of hockey cards, and a lot of football cards. But now I collect like die-casts for the NASCAR collection side of things. I haven't got back into the card game. So debris for Kurt Busch, one of the many cars that were involved in that last crash. That was a bigger car count total than the one we had before that. And I'm sure we'll get more debris cautions along the way. Scott Riggs has quite a bit. Looks like he's going to shed soon. It's the main car that was involved in the wreck before that. And there are some lap cars underneath us. Not many. Mark Martin, Tony Stewart, Kenny Schrader, but there are some. Green flag back in the air. Lap 139 of 188. Just launched so well in these restarts. We have one set of tires left, by the way, the rest of the race. So we've pitted 4 times now. Waited 4 to 5 hours for a Kyle Busch autograph at Kansas in 23. That is persistence right there. He's a very patient man. I pride myself on being patient. I don't think I could ever be that patient. I guess if you're at the track, though, you really got nothing else to do anyway. Kind of trapped there. Right, so we're at 49 laps to go. Last debris caution was our 7th caution of the race. And that is number 8. Tony Stewart's up to 2nd, by the way. Driver chasing us for the championship. Scott Riggs gonna have some debris falling off. Is that his front bumper or his hood? Probably his front bumper. His hood will probably be next to fall off. And we might have another car or two with quite a bit of damage somewhere in the field as well. Can't confirm that necessarily, but I'm expecting at least one more debris yellow.
That's another 5 points for leading the most laps.
Oh, sounds like under caution we clinched the most laps led.
3, buddy. Go, go, go.
Green flag back there. Oh, Tony Stewart was first car lap down, so he got the free pass. So he was not in 2nd. My bad on that. Ricky Rudd restarted in 2nd, so he's back up towards the front of the field again. Wow, Jeff Gordon, 35th. Jimmy Johnson, 37th. This could be the 2nd straight finish for Jimmy Johnson out of the top 20. And obviously Tony Stewart, 39th. Schrader, 41st. Only 2 cars out of the race, Jeff Green and Robbie Gordon. Outside of the 33 to go window right now, 45 to go. We were coming to 44 to go as the caution comes out for the 9th time today at Talladega. And that would be the Scott Riggs debris caution for his hood coming off, as we just saw there. Green flag back in the air into the next restart. Laps are winding down quickly. 41 to go. I think the car tomorrow is the sole reason why I'm running better at Talladega now than what I would have otherwise. Because the Gen 4 race, we only led 4 laps here earlier this season. Or sorry, led 2 laps, finished 4th. This lap we've led, or this race, sorry, I can't talk. This race we have led the most laps, by far. We weren't the dominant car until we got to the lead, and then once we got to the lead, it's been pretty easy for us to hang on to it. 40 to go at the line. Yeah, we're getting very close to the edge of the pit window. I don't think it, unless we get a caution with 33 to go, I don't think I can pit. Golly, I mean, maybe if we get one close. We're getting there. We're getting really close. If we catch a caution in the next couple laps, I think I'm staying out again. Definitely extending our time for when the final stops will probably end up being because of the amount of gas people are saving under yellows. Which, if we end up getting another accident, which bleeds into a couple more debris cautions after that said accident, then we could end up having to restart the final 10-15 laps of the race after everybody pits one more time. We're definitely going to get to 33 laps to go before we get to halfway out of gas. So we probably will not have to pit till we get down to 20 laps or less left in the race. Right now, we just run this out as long as we can. Watching NASCAR Heat 5 in 2019. I don't think I had anything uploaded that early. I don't think I started that. Well, you know, NASCAR Heat 5 came out in 2020. I think it was summer of 2020 when that game came out. Still, yeah, longtime viewer of the channel. Thanks for sticking around. Well, never mind. I guess I hit halfway out of gas before 33 to go. Maybe burned a little bit more fuel under the cautions than I was expecting, but still. We're going to have 35 laps to go at the line. I think if a caution comes out again, I'm pitting. I think we'll be close enough within our window. I'd rather be the first to pit last, especially if my picker has a slow stop and loses us the lead. We went from 7th to 1st on a restart. I don't know what that threshold is of how far back I can restart in a single file line and still get to the lead before we get up to speed. Definitely not going to have as much of a gap on the rest of the field. The reason why I'm able to on the restarts now is because I'm out in front. But if they're close enough behind me in the draft, by the time we get up to speed, then I'm not going to be able to pull away. Give this kind of a buffer between ourselves and the rest of the pack, like we have so far for really the whole race since we took the lead for the first time, which was just before lap 60. So we're probably going to end up leading over 100 laps in this race. Are the F1 video games still pretty good? Doesn't EA have the license for them now? Could be wrong on that. I clearly don't play the F1 games or pay enough attention to really know much about the game. I heard the games that came out a few years ago, like right around the time where the Heat games were coming out or just after that, that those F1 games are really solid. I'm wondering if they're still at that level or they maybe dropped a bit performance-wise. I mean, I still had fun with the NASCAR Heat games. I mean, we played the heck out of NASCAR Heat 5 on the channel. I had enough fun with the game myself. It wasn't a perfect NASCAR game by any means, but I still had fun with it. It's not hard to please me. NASCAR 21 Ignition, on the other hand, I did not have fun with that. An okay play, haven't finished the season mode on it. I don't know why it's been so hot in my room today. My goodness, it's not that hot outside. I think it was barely 80 degrees where I live today. I'm sweating my you-know-what off sitting in this chair. It's warm. Probably because I didn't refill my water a while back. At 32 laps to go. I'm getting closer to the end. I just kind of want to get there. I got an ant on my leg. There was one crawling on my shoulder earlier. Got him. Oh, no, I missed him. He's on the run. He's on my sock. Okay, now I got him. No, I didn't get him again. Third time's a charm. I got him that time. There we go. We're good. He's dead. My goodness. I kid you not. Like a minute before that, I felt like something was crawling on my arm and I didn't see anything. And then I looked down at my leg and there was something there. And I don't know if he went from my arm to my leg. Yeah, I was sitting on my bed like a half hour before the stream started. Just kind of relaxing. And there was one that was crawling on my shoulder. And then in the midst of me trying to chase that one down, there was another one on my bed like roaming around the same area. I'm like, what the heck? They're everywhere. So that's 3 of them I've killed in the last 2.5 hours. I had a pretty good streak going there where I haven't seen many of them the last couple of weeks. And here we are. Deep fried ants for dinner? I'm not going to eat those. Yeah, I got better food than that. I think I'm just going to have some bagels, honestly, for dinner. I'm not all that hungry. I've eaten a lot already today. Already got my workout in. We're good to go. Just got to get a better night's sleep tonight than I did last night. Hopefully I'm not dragging all day tomorrow. Codemaster's still developing the F1 games with EA marketing. Yeah, I don't know what that means. I don't know much about the video game development system. All I see is who licensed the games, and that's it. That's all I know. I don't pay any attention to the game engines and stuff like that. I'm not a video gamer at heart. I'm a dumbing down version of somebody who likes to play like racing games or not even racing games, NASCAR titled games, for instance, because I'm a NASCAR fan. And I like playing other sports games to a certain extent, but I wouldn't necessarily call myself a video gamer per se. Honestly, I don't think we're going to see another caution until everybody hits pit road, and then maybe we see a crash on the other side of that with a couple more debris yellows. So we'll have to wait and see exactly when we're going to pit. We have 28 laps to go at the line. Still haven't hit a quarter tank of gas left yet. We seem to save a little bit more fuel under the cautions the last couple times than what everybody else did. I definitely don't think we've seen the last yellow. Crawling on me while that happened once. It was the last time I slept without a shirt on, too, because it's warm in my room. But I've been so paranoid about that ever since then. I sleep with a shirt on it every night now. I woke up in the middle of the night having that feeling that something was crawling on me, and there was an ant on my shoulder. And I could tell it was because even though it was kind of dark, there was like moonlighting coming in from the side of the window, from the area where I rest my head on my bed. And yeah, there was... My room is terrible with carpenter ants. It's never been like this until this summer. And I don't know why it's this year in particular that's doing that. I'd actually argue I've eaten far less in this room, or hardly at all, compared to what I ever used to before. And the sole reason is because I already find ants in here, so if I felt if I was eating on top of that, that there would be even more, and there's already a lot. I'm well aware of the fact that they're not going to harm me by any means. I'm not scared of them, but it's also one of those things when I'm trying to sleep at night, I don't like things crawling on me either. Indoors, especially. I'm not sleeping outside. Shouldn't have ants crawling on me. Just a nuisance. I've had ticks on me before, and that is not fun. Thank goodness I never got, like, bit. They are so hard to get off your skin. You, like, pinch at them and try to pull, and you think you got them, and you don't. They just leech on. I was golfing this one time. It was actually the weekend I went to the Dover race in 2021 in Maryland. I was looking for my ball in this like tall grassy area. A buddy of mine was with me, and we were both looking for my ball. We had ticks all over our legs. as soon as we walked out, I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, dude, look at your legs. Like, just to check his, because I had ticks all over me. He had the same thing. We had ticks all over us. That was terrible, too, because you would think you had them all, and then we'd play like a couple more holes, and then I'd find like another tick on my leg or something. I'm like, man, I thought I got them all. Yeah, that was a little, that kind of sucked. I mean, not only it sucked to have them there, but then there was that paranoia of like, man, I really hope I didn't get bit by one of those. Especially while we were on vacation about 7+ hours away from where we live. That's the only time I've ever had like any sort of tick encounters there. Nobody's pitted yet. Our crew chief just warned us about our fuel indication again, or situation. We're going to be at 23 laps to go at the line. See if anybody pits this time. Oh, nobody's pitting. Yeah, we're going to be of that last group of cars to pit again, more than likely. I'm going to try to stretch it that far at least. I was kind of guessing that we were going to be able to make it till about 20 laps to go or less, and that's still looking like the case, considering nobody's pit yet. We'll probably end up catching a couple more cautions. I'm guessing one more wreck with at least 2 to 3 more debris yellows following that said wreck. Depends on how big the wreck is. There's a couple cars pitting this time, but very few, at least from that lead pack that was behind us. They're split apart a little further back in the pack. The second pack specifically. 22 to go now. End up wrecking, it will be leaving the pits. I should probably just pit now just to be safe. I don't want to take the risk of losing the lead. We're plenty good on fuel to the end. So I'm just going to pit now. Oh, it's so tough. Yeah, I'm just going to pit now just to be safe. Didn't really lock them up too bad. That was a lot better pit entry than I had before. Gonna top off. Probably could have gotten away with a half a tank of gas, assuming we get cautions, but just in case we don't get yellows, better safe than sorry. And we're taking 4 tires, which is our 5th and final set we're putting on. Yeah, I was definitely more aggressive in the braking coming into the pits, not as much like at the commitment line with how close I was to speeding. Alright, we really need this to cycle through. Brian Vickers just got out in front of us for a quick second. I'll get by him on the apron for 24th. 21 to go. Joe Nemechek is the leader. Big enough oval, you wanted to be the first to pit last. We were of that second group of cars that pitted, not quite the first group, but it's still going to work out the same for us. Well, we should be the leader. Now we're just waiting on everything to cycle through. We'll get to 20 to go at the line. Well, technically we're already there because Nemechek's still on track. And we just got to hope we stay green. At least long enough to get by everybody else who is already pitted or is on pit road currently. They'll be trying to get up to speed. Casey Kane, our driver, already at speed. Got a lot of cars to pass here.
That's the one we can trust out there.
13th. Jimmy Johnson leads. He's still on the track. Got a couple more cars on pit road. Quite a few of them, really, of who's left to pit.
Watch out, there's a car stop up ahead. Come on now.
Car stop? Oh, there is. I don't know where he's at. Oh, he's in the grass.
Keep digging.
There's no caution. Somebody ran out of gas. It looked like it might have been Kyle Petty in the 45, but there was no caution for Petty running out of fuel, so we stay green. Got to get by these other cars here. Inside the top 10. 9th.
Leaders are coming into pit.
6th. Here's 5th with Mike Wallace.
Said some good things to say about you lately.
Rudd, Waltrip, Nemechek up to 2nd. Johnson leads. He was able to get 5 bonus points. I don't think he's led today yet. Caution flag is out. And that pack was starting to close up behind us, too. Oh, Harvick wrecking under yellow. What are you doing, Kevin? Well, there's the wreck. John Wood. And it looked like he DNF'd from it. You know, he hit way less violent than we've seen from other crashes like that earlier today. And he ran into the back of Jeff Burton, who already had damage from earlier. So I don't know if we're going to catch a debris caution from him or not. John Wood's out. We'll see if we catch any debris yellows. Jimmy Johnson was in front of us, but he did not hit pit road yet. So that's the problem with staying out as long as he could, because now he's going to be at the tail end of the lead lap. And everybody else pitted before him. Green flag back in the air. And here we go. 14 laps left at Talladega. We may still catch a debris caution or two, but I'm not going to guarantee it like we had. I don't think that damage registered between us and Harvick because it was well after the yellow flag came out. So he shouldn't really have any damage on his car. Had that cycled out under green, I think we were going to have a legitimate pack race to the end. Because that group of cars was closing in on us pretty quickly. Now they're 7/10 back, which has kind of been that window on a consistent basis when I restart from the lead. 6, 7/10, they really can't get any closer. 13 to go. Sterling Marlin in second as he tries to go for back-to-back wins. David Stremme is his push car. David Gillen is the highest running chase driver behind us, other than us, in 4th. Waltrip in the chase is in 7th. And that's it. Just 3 chasers in the top 10. We only had 1 finish in the top 10 at Kansas 2 days ago. We'll be on to Charlotte tomorrow. And that's going to be a unique race. I'll be starting that race tomorrow and finishing it on Friday with the limited timing that I have for the ability to be able to stream. So when we finish it Friday, it'll end up being before the truck race on Friday night at IRP. Live for cup practice, or will I be at work? No, I'll be live. If that's Saturday, which I believe it is, if they have any sort of session on Friday, then yeah, but I'm pretty sure it's on Saturday, so I have the timing of all that. I don't get my OT scheduled until tomorrow, so I can't confirm that, but so feel have any sort of a charge to catch Casey Kane under green when they really haven't all day today in this situation beforehand. It's on Friday. Well, I'll be able to stream it. Truck race Friday at 8, yeah. I know they have a 50-minute practice session this week. I didn't think it was then. I'll have to look at the start times for everything. I don't know what that's going to mean for the NASCAR 08 side of things. Maybe we just end up finishing that on like Sunday before the race instead. I don't know. I'll get it situated eventually. We'll figure it out. I will be working on Friday, but I don't know what time I'll end up working till. I sign up for my overtime, so if anything, depending on what time it is in the afternoon, I'll just make sure that I'm off. Like, if it's early enough, I'll just make sure I get off at like noon or 2 o'clock. 1 o'clock on Friday? Are you sure? I thought it was Saturday at 1. I'll be home in time. I'll be crunching for time because the earliest I can get off is noon. Yeah, I don't think they're catching me, guys. Unless somebody blows an engine and we have a speed glitch or somebody crashes into the back of them, we get a restart or something. But even on the restarts, I mean, we've been long gone. I'm just impressed that Sterling Marlin's been in the top 2 or 3 this whole race, pretty much second. He led quite a bit early before we took the lead the first time. Then it's pretty much been all Casey Kane from just after lap 55 to now. Couple laps during different green flag pit sequences that I haven't led, but that's been the only other lead changes we've seen. There were quite a few of them at the front of the pack well before we got to the lead because it took us almost 2 full fuel runs to get out in front. Eight to go now. Marlin fell back to 5th. Five laps to go at the start-finish line this time by. Yeah, it definitely was Kyle Petty that ran out of gas earlier because he's out of the race. I believe we only had 2 DNFs before that. Had 10 cautions in the race today. We haven't seen a debris yellow since the last crash. I wasn't guaranteeing one with John Wood being knocked out of the race because of that incident. And the guy involved Jeff Burton already lost his back bumper cover because of an earlier wreck he was involved in. And I don't really know that there were anybody else that had major damage from that incident. One second lead for Kane. I'll have to make sure when I do the custom schedule season for when we do the playoff format, I'm going to make sure I put the Gen 4 Talladega race in the playoffs and not the Car of Tomorrow version, so it'll be more competitive for us. Because I did not do this in the first Talladega race we had earlier in the season. We only led 2 laps that whole race. And today we've led well over 100. Far more difficult. It's going to be about as easy as a Talladega win as we can get. It wasn't as easy as the truck race here, which I did not win because I mismanaged my fuel calculations, but today we were not going to blow it. Strategy-wise, everything worked out perfectly fine. Really didn't have to go off strategy by any means. We just had to stay on top of it more than anything. Make sure we were doing the math correct all the way through. I don't like the fact Sterling Marlin's slipping back in the running order. I really wish he was going to get a second place run after winning at Kansas the race before. It's back to 7th. Stay in the top 10, Sterling. White flag, 1 lap to go.
1 lap to go.
Be a 14-lap green flag run to the checker from the last restart. Just over a 1 second lead for Kasey Kahne on the final lap. Mike Wallace is in second for the moment. Michael Waltrip, chase driver, in third. Joe Nemechek fourth. Sterling Marlin back in the top 5. And only Waltrip and Kahne are the only 2 chase drivers in the top 10. David Gillen's 11th. He was top 5 for most of the first half of this one. So he's flirting with a top 10 run. Came in 3rd in points, and where Tony Stewart's running after being a lap down earlier. There's a very high probability that David Gillen's going to be 2nd in points with 6 races to go in the season. When we go into Charlotte, a track where I also haven't led many laps at across all 3 series. So redemption for Kasey Kahne, 13th win of the season, 3rd out of 4 in the chase. And a dominating win here today at Talladega. Let's go. 114 laps led today, 1.2 second margin of victory at Talladega, 54 lead changes still, 10 cautions, 135.22 mile per hour average race speed. And yeah, there were a lot of lead changes. It seemed like every lap the lead was changing hands there early in the race, and then we took the lead at about lap 57 and pretty much had it almost the rest of the way from there. Mike Walsh ends up in second, no laps led for him. Mike Waltrip starting deep in the field as well, finishes third. Sterling Marlin did get back in the top 5 to 4th, and Kevin Harvick in 5th, Joe Nemechek 6th, Denny Hamlin 7th, Brian Vickers 8th, David Stremming 9th, Jamie McMurray rounds out the top 10. Vickers led 24 laps today. Our teammate Elliott Sadler got in a crash, but still finished on the lead lap at 15th. Scott Riggs got involved in a crash and had a couple debris cautions of his own. He finished the race, but a lap down in 39th. Like we had 35 cars finish on the lead lap. And we only had 4 DNFs despite the 10 cautions. Robbie Gordon, Jeff Green, Kyle Petty, John Wood, all DNF, none of them chase drivers. So we'll take a look at those chase points going into the next race. Should have over a 1 full race worth of points lead with 6 to go. Bank of America 500 at Charlotte. Going to be the next one. So I led 114 laps today at Talladega. The first race there earlier this season, I finished third. I actually led 39 laps in the first Dega race. I had that backwards. It might have been the Busch race where I didn't lead many. And not the Cup race. But anyway, okay, so I finished third in the first race at Dega. Dale Jarrett won it. And we end up winning today. Led way more laps still. And at Charlotte for the Coca-Cola 600, 600-mile race, we only led 13 laps in that race. J.J. Yaley won. We finished in second. We had a good finish, but it was tough to fight it out for the win. I remember not winning at Charlotte in truck and Busch Series competition as well. So I've not won at Charlotte on this game across any of the top 3 series, but we've won 3 of the first 4 chase races. So we'll see what we can do. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content like this every day during the week, and then live commentary NASCAR streams on the weekend. I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll start the Charlotte race tomorrow, see how far we get into it, and then end up finishing hopefully on Friday or whenever we can end up getting to the end of that, my work schedule, and having another 500-mile race. I can do it tonight, finish this at 8:30, and then get to bed kind of soon, but I'm not going to do that over and over again with work. So, and then obviously being up late Friday night because of the truck race and all that, all the scheduling. It's a scheduling conflict, essentially, is what we're coming down to it. But we'll get the race started tomorrow, finishing up Friday. There are some polls open in the community tab. You can vote for who you want me to race as in the Busch Series. First round polls are up, and then we'll get the final round for the Truck and Cup up tomorrow, as well as the second round for the Busch Series. We'll announce the winners of tonight's polls during tomorrow, and get those polls started as well. So be sure to do that. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, everybody.